All right, gentlemen. What's up? How you guys doing
Hey, yo.
tonight?
Good man. How are
Decent.
you?
It's been so long since we've got a chance to kind of deep dive into what's happened. Obviously, yesterday the team state finished up. Great finals, great tournament. I think. Obviously, that's what I think. This was a good state tournament as far as getting to see the teams duke it out. Right, we got to see Vandalia wrestle Coal City in the finals at 1A. Obviously, Vandalia wrestled Marion in the finals at Abe's. So it was a great opportunity to see everybody wrestle each other. 2A Washington and IC and Montini. That was a good path. And then 3A Hononegah beats Mount Carmel, gets through JCA, loses to Marmion. Marmion's 3A champs. Obviously, not to be forgotten, Marist loses in the team sectional on Tuesday to a thrown headgear call, which later cost a team point because of the criteria. Crazy
Yeah,
last
Yeah.
week.
yeah. I don't want to go off on a tangent about that, but I've watched that video about 40 times, and then I've looked back at wrestling just in the last 4 or 5 years. Now I understand that that was an underhand toss that was a little harsh, maybe. Okay, nice try. That's a reach on my where I come from. But why the official was walking with him the whole time seemed a little bit slightly antagonistic. Um, and then what I'll say is this: the rule does state you cannot throw your headgear. But yet you allow people to toss them all the time to their coaches, overhand, underhand. So it's a very subjective call. Um, Will Denny's like a really, he's not just a badass kid, dude. He's a really kind kid. He's very nice,
Oh, yeah.
very respectful. Love every time I see him, dude. He's just smiles. He always gives me a hug, asks me how mad he's doing every time. Um, I think it was a bullshit
I
call.
agree.
Sorry, I
I
do.
agree.
I think there's more to the story than what we saw. But either way, at the end of the day, it happened. And I think you're right. When you talk about, I wish it would have been more spread out. But equity isn't everything with the or equity. Yeah. And so it was cool to see Mount Carmel get that dub, however they got it. Then for Hononegah to beat Mount Carmel, then Hononegah wins. Who they beat after that?
JCA.
JCA, and that was a tough duel too. And then Marmion came out on top. Good for Marmion. I think that's the first team state title in like 9 years.
Yeah.
That was cool. It was good. I was very fun to watch. There's a lot of high level wrestling, a lot of bump ups. Kids wrestling different weight classes, which is the cool part about duels. It's about a coin toss at times, like in who has more depth and playing your cards right. And then obviously when you have multiple elite kids wrestling each other for like the second or third time in 3 weeks, it can go either way. As we saw like with Rocco
Some of them can.
Castiglione and Demetrius Carrera, right? Or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
The Cooper Morris, and who did Cooper Morris wrestle from Vandalia?
Waddle. I think
Yeah.
it was Waddle.
Okay. So it was. I'm not sure which the bigger Waddle. So 126 Waddle. I think he tech followed him in the finals at state, and yesterday was, I'll say, a close match.
Yeah, I did see it was pretty close when I was watching it, but I did not see the end score.
But
yeah,
I mean, remember that. Yeah.
It was just there was a lot of good matches. I wish I could. I need to take a little bit better notes when I go through them. But obviously, Jackson Olson. If you were watching Hononegah, Jackson Olson is he's your guy, Jim, and he came through multiple times throughout the Mount Carmel JCA. He wrestled well.
He ended up pinning Aiden McClure.
Yeah.
And
that was a back and forth match. He was losing at one. Yeah. He was winning, then losing, then winning, then losing. And then all of a sudden.
You want to talk about a couple badass freshmen? Aiden McClure and Jackson Olson, man.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I mean, I think, Jackson Olson stepped up when they needed points. He got them, and I was really impressed with just again.
Wait, Jackson's only a freshman?
No.
Oh,
no.
I was about to say. Wait, I thought he was way older.
Yeah, he's same age as those guys. He's a sophomore, junior. But
He's a junior.
yeah,
Yeah.
I was thinking about how
Well, if he was my kid, he'd only be a freshman.
well,
No, he'd be a sophomore.
he'd be a sub. But I just thought like when it comes to duels, it's so critical for guys that are on the edge to like really go after pins. Sometimes in tournament competition, you're just trying to win the match. But in those situations, you push people to be like, hey, you need to get the most points you can get.
Yeah.
And
no, that's what's neat about the dual team stuff, man. Like you have to pin the kid. You have to put your maybe give up a takedown, maybe do something, you know what I mean? Like keep the score close. Watch what you're doing. Don't get that turn. Don't get that takedown until you get, you're only valuable if you're getting 6 points. You know
look at Vandalia Coal City. Ross Miller was weighs in at 75, bumps up to 90, has Pointer beat. He's beating Cade Pointer, who's a monster compared to him. And then Pointer sticks him. I mean, that changes that duel big time. I mean, if you win that match, that's a 9-point swing alone.
Yeah.
Go from fall to a minor. And Vandalia in the finals.
Yeah. Yeah, it was good. And then, obviously, just going back a week ago to the high school state tournament and all that kind of unfolded there. I mean, what an event. I mean, what a Jim, what were you telling me about the 1A sectional out of Oregon? How many
I had it all wrote down. 28 state placers, I believe. Here we go. Here we go. The 1A Oregon sectional, the finalists alone. You had Augie, a finalist at 113. You had Tennyson, a finalist at 120, eventually a state champ. You had 32, Wainwright, eventually a state champ. You had Emmett Nelson, eventually a state champ. You had Vance Williams, eventually a runner-up. You had Ivy and Smith in the finals together, Smith being a state champ. You had at 75, you had Larson and Livedall in the finals, Larson being a state champ. At 190, you had Jimmy and Maddox Anderson. Jimmy eventually being a state champ. And then at 215, you had Luke in the finals. So finalists alone, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 out of 14 weight classes. All finalists out of one sectional. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 state champs out of that sectional. Yeah. 6 isn't half of 14, but damn near. You know what I mean?
We round up, dude. We're not the smartest group of guys out there. So in this case, to figure out percentages, 6 turns to 7 because 7 and 14 is 50.
I've seen Mark's Tinder. He rounds up, ladies. He's rounding up.
That's right, baby.
Yeah. Well,
that's right.
In the single A class, like at the state tournament, that sectional is so profound. It's such a tough one. It's a testament to the small schools in the western northern Illinois area. They produce great wrestling.
Thank God Marion's out of it. They can hate Northville Christian now.
Yeah, and that's what I was about to say. Marion will be in 2A next year, and Montini will be in 3A.
Really?
With the success factor, because that's 2 state trophies in back-to-back years. So the success, they'll go up. So that'll be great for like a Richmond Burton to see if they can make a run, because they were really good this year. In my opinion, they were the 5th best team, possibly better than Tolono. I don't know. Tolono, it's all about matchups when it comes to duels. But it would have been nice to see how they panned out. They had a really good team, and I think next year they'll get their opportunity to shine. I don't know who came out of the Montini sectional. The weird thing about the 2A stuff, which is different than 1A, you see a lot more movement in the regionals that the 2A schools are signed to. They like flip-flop them. Like sometimes all the teams that are at Antioch, and then like this past year and in other random years, they like split that regional and put it at Wakanda and put like some of them with the Crystal Lakes, some of them here. And so like Montini and IC, they're not close. And in my opinion, they shouldn't be anywhere near each other. They probably shouldn't even be in the same sectional. But now we don't even have to worry about that, which kind of takes the fun out of it because there's a lot of tension between those two programs. and I think it's a really good rivalry. And I think a year from now, we'll have IC. We'll be back up and we'll be up in 3A. But yeah, with that, like
that's
what you're
cool.
talking about in 1A with the small A schools, I mean, those little farm towns, dude, these little rural communities produce some like awesome fans, a really, really awesome fan base. And then they got some little juggernaut, little wrestlers out there, dude. They come out of these little towns, dude. They're just straight studs. It's pretty interesting to watch.
Like if you, I'll just go off on this. It might make sense. It might not. Nah, I won't even get into it. But it'd be back to the dual team thing. Like, the dual team stuff. If you're supposed to win the match, you better win with bonus point. That's your job, to go win with point. If you're a fucking beagle, you better go run a rabbit. If you're a walker or a plot hound or a red dog, you better go tree a coon. You know what I mean? Like, that's what you're for. So if you're a kid and you're supposed to win, you better go get 6 points for the team.
Yeah, there's definitely a much more focused incentive for people to go do specific points and stuff like that.
The other thing that commonly gets missed
in like that aspect of wrestling, like it's a part that you don't normally have when you're only focused on yourself winning.
Yeah.
I do like it because it pushes you to make things happen.
The other element, though, is the kid that you say, hey, listen, you don't say it to them. And sometimes you do. Some kids know. They're realists. It's like,
well,
hey,
they're
listen,
a varsity wrestler.
I need you to go. I know, but I'm not talking about the kid get the pin. I'm talking about the kid that's just a tough, scrappy kid. And you say, listen, no matter what, we know this kid's really, really good. He's state champ or state medalist. You fight like hell. We don't give up bonus points. And you have kids that you can count on to keep things not necessarily close, like that's their goal, but their goal is not to go to their back. If things get tough, they fight like hell. And those are so instrumental in winning duels. When you're Coal City, right? Coal City, if you look at the lineup, and shout out to Coal City, they got like 13 kids with 35 plus wins each. Vandalia had quite a few as well. There's a reason why those two teams were in the finals, right?
Yeah.
They had all these. They may not have had the hitters per se, like the elite.
Do you have any specific? I didn't get to watch all those duels, but who would you say out of the single A was that kid? Because I actually I watched a lot, and I actually know what you're saying. And I have a kid who did it at 3A specifically for Hononegah, but
Musil.
Yeah.
Musil. Yeah, Musil's a dog. He won a big match too, though.
Yeah, but I mean, you should have saw his arms when he was wrestling. Was he JCA or Marmion? I think it was JCA. But I felt bad. They were going hard. They were going real hard for him.
No, man,
see, what I'm talking about more is like at Marion, they had a kid, right? And like, they'll give the kid love. He didn't win a lot of matches in the 3 years I've watched him. Connor Castles, though.
Yeah.
Try pinning that kid. Like, you can kind of like once in a blue moon he gets, but like he in the Tolono duel maybe or the Tolono or Coal City, he was on the verge of getting teched early in the second period. Instead, he scores a takedown and changes the points of that duel, right? Like the other guys didn't come through per se, right? But he gave him a chance where he was outmatched. And it was bad early, and he was like, "No, I'm not going to I won't go to my back again. In fact, I'm not going to get taken down again."
Yeah.
So he gets he's just a fighter, right? Those kids are so important in dual meets too.
Yeah.
As much as the good kids are that say like we need 6 and they go get 6 every time. Yeah. You got to have those kids that have that dog in them not to give up bonus points in duels in order to win.
I agree.
You lose 3 matches and get stuck in 3, it's 18 team points. You lose 3 matches and lose by minor, that's 9. It's a big difference.
Yeah, and it's definitely something that I think people are aware of. Good coaches and good programs are communicating it throughout the year of just the job at hand. But speaking of, though, let's go into that. So you guys are telling me next year Marion moves up to 2A. Well, let's talk about the 2A state tournament and how, let's talk about state champions 2A. One, crazy upsets. Obviously, Zach Montez did not win state. That was an upset. But then we got kind of what Peyton Cox an upset? I think he was kind of in a good position.
No,
to win,
I think he was supposed to win. He was going to win at 38 for damn sure. I think 44 he kind of proved himself more. If that's okay to say.
Then Medlin wins. Both Hagues win.
Yeah, both the Hague boys won.
Hagues, sorry.
No, you're good.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know.
Did Hoffer win?
Hague.
Hoffer won. Both Hagues won, which is really cool because you got Justice who really wants to be at Providence Catholic, and you got Judah. And I did talk to Mr. Hague, and he just told me straight up, like, they gave Judah the opportunity, or Aaron. So yeah, Mr. Hague, is Aaron Hague, right? Aaron said that Judah, he had the opportunity to go to Providence, and he just said, you know, I had a lot of good friends at Lamont High School, and I want to stay with my friends. And they were like, all right, cool. So you got two brothers in state titles for two separate schools.
I've been talking to him from years. Like he's been so super cool, super long. Don't forget, you want to talk about a seasoned dad in the game.
Yeah,
AJ Heeg. You know what I mean? Like that dude. Yeah. That dude's seen it all.
And where is he? Does anybody know where he's currently?
AJ's in between. Yes, he's at Northern Colorado. Okay. He was at Okie State last year after living in Stillwater. Now he's at Northern Colorado. The Heags were in Lamont originally, then went to Stillwater, then Simley, are back in Lamont.
Got it. Well, yeah, I mean, he's been around. I remember being in the youth IHSA State Finals with Tony Alvarado, and AJ was next to him.
Yeah, man. No, he's an awesome guy.
What's really cool, so I'm looking at 2A stuff.
Yeah.
Go ahead, sorry.
Well, I was just saying,
go ahead.
Both of the Heags win it. Washington gets, you're saying 3 champs.
4.
Brody
Kelly wins IC, KC.
Washington has 4.
4? Oh, no.
Yep.
Woods, yep.
Yep.
Hey, I don't know Hoffer. I don't even know Hoffer, but I like him.
Yeah.
Yeah. When he plays at Iron Man, I'm like, yeah, man, I don't know who this kid is, but like, come Greco camp, him and Jimmy are going to be they're going to be buddies. So I promise that.
Oh, yeah. Here's what's really cool about the 2A state champs. I thought this, and I needed to look it up. So for 2A state champs, right, we had Ray Long, we had Ellen Wu. Noah Woods was a senior, so he'll graduate. Cumby's a sophomore. Devin Casey's a senior, so he leaves. That's 2. Lewis, the junior, he's back. Peyton Cox graduates. Then you go to 50, he's back. 57 was Medlin, he's back. 65, we get Pierre Walton, who had a really cool tournament to beat Tenuta. He was down 7-0 and stuck him. But first, second, and third are all back at that weight, right? At 75, you get all 5 of the 6 medalists back. But Brody Kelly, Kai Wenzaro, Marco Casillas, Dan Costello, they're all back. The 190, Judah Heeg's back. Caden Parks graduates, but Heeg's back. At 215, Hoffer's back. At heavyweight, Cody Moss from Chatham is back.
Parks won 190?
Yeah, he lost in the finals to Heeg. Oh. Judah Heeg beat him. Oh, so basically, we return 11 state champs in 2A.
So 2A is going to be lit.
Yeah, dude. You're going to have 11 returning state champions.
With Marion guys moving up.
Yep.
And then
but you lose Montini. So I guess you lose Wu.
Louis.
You lose Louis, and you lose and you lose the state runner-up in Tenuta, who was up 7-0 in the finals. Not knocking the kid, dude. He was awesome, tough as hell. But I'll tell you right now, that Pierre Walton is fun, dude. To see a kid like who says F it all the time, like go big, and he just grabs body parts and takes them with him. And if it's your whole body, even better. But I saw that kid this summer wrestle Pedro Jimenez 3 different times. Pedro was beating on him the first time, and then Walton's just frequent flyer miles, dude, everywhere. Second time was kind of competitive, and then frequent flyer miles. And then I'm like, dude, this Walton kid from East St. Louis can throw. Dude, he can throw.
I predicted Cam Louis early in the season, remember?
Yeah.
We all did.
No, I did it first.
I was right there with you. Maybe Dalton didn't.
I just heard that his dad was a model.
His dad wasn't there at Team State. I saw Cam when I was leaving. I go, hey, where's your dad? And he said, oh, he's not here. And I go, well, I heard them call him over the intercom. You know, like, of course he's here. He goes, no, they just said he was an honorable mention. And then Cam goes, well, hey, when you gonna grow your good hair back? I go, listen, man, your dad wins that game. I'm just an honorable mention now. Like, can't. But Dan Luif,
we're not worthy. Man. We're not worthy.
And Tyler DeMoss too. Dan Luif, Tyler DeMoss, top two hair games in the game.
Yeah.
And maybe that guy Corey from IC. Is that the guy with the long hair?
I'm not really sure which one you're talking about. But just to continue on that two-way though, so Providence Catholic is there and they're young, right?
Yes.
What are we doing, man?
Sorry, my computer. Hold on, my computer. But I kicked the computer cord, and somehow it. Okay, real quick, I do want to talk about this because Providence Catholic's part of this. So the success factor, according to the IHSA, and they haven't clarified this, and I have this verbatim. I talked to Nick Miller today for about a little under a half hour. We talked this morning, head coach at Washington, and the IHSA said that the classification rule for next year is no longer a 2-year deal. So it's every year. So basically, they check your enrollment every single year now to determine what class you're in. Well, with that being said, they haven't clarified yet whether the success factor is 1 year, right? Because the rule was 2-year classification. Two, if you medal twice at Team State, you go up, right, in those 2 years. Well, if it's 1 year now, do you go up? And the IHSA has not made a ruling on that yet.
So what are you suggesting? So you're saying if you go up, you're only there for a year and then you come back?
No, I'm saying you could go up in one. I don't know what the rule, the IHSA hasn't even clarified yet. What I'm saying, though, is the success factor under this system right now is 2 trophies, 2 team trophies at Team State. You have to go up as a private. Right?
Oh, I see. So you're saying IC
now, so I see if it's only 1 year, then IC would have to go up. I don't think it's going to be 1 year. And I don't know what Sam Knox is going to rule on that, what the IHSA advisory board for wrestling will decide. But it is interesting because we don't really know. And that kind of changes things. Like, you don't know who's going to be where next year per se, right? But we do know right now that if you did 2 and 2 team trophies in 2 years, you go up. So if Providence Catholic gets a team trophy again next year, right, they would go up.
Yeah. Well, I'd vote for some of these. I think it would be fun to just do like a lottery system in general. Just mix it. If you're going to do 3 classes, just mix them up all the time. I mean, I don't like classes in general. I think everybody should compete as one. But just if you had to, I do like the fact that teams are jumping into different levels does make the tournament a little bit more interesting.
Yeah.
Just because you don't know.
No, I agree.
And there's some.
I mean, it doesn't really change
the goal.
It doesn't really change. Yeah, it doesn't change. It changes the state tournament and team tournament, right? That's all it really changes.
Yeah.
I mean, anybody can, within reason, anybody can do anything they want during the season. Whether if they choose to or not is on them.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's an interesting concept. Well, let's jump into 3A and go through those weight classes. Obviously, Rundell wins 106, Noble wins 13, Munaretto 120, Garcia 126, Cassiope 132, Mendoza 38, Gaz 44,
Pinzo,
Carson
Pinzo,
Weber, Carson Weber.
No shade or however you say it to Zach Stewart. Zach Stewart went out to Team State.
Well, let me get through
at 150 and just fucked everybody up.
Yeah, I mean, that was impressive. Carson Weber, 150. Liam Kelly, 157. Will Denny, 165. 75, Aaron Stewart. 90, Erickson. 215, big one. Charles Walker over Calcutt. 285, Rulo over Cole. I mean, what stands out for you guys?
Will Denny's so fucking dominant. And Brody Sandell is so good. We already know how good he is. Will Denny's just Will Denny's not playing the same game as everybody else. You know what I mean?
The same can be said. They're like, to me, they weren't exciting, but the same can be said of Seth Mendoza. And I know we talked last week a little bit, because to me, like, to do what happened to TJ Silva and Brody Sindel between Will Denny and Seth Mendoza is like unbelievable. Just says how great Will Denny and Seth Mendoza are. Because like,
yeah, there's a gap.
When you watch TJ Silva, when he's on and TJ's healthy and he's on, dude, he's so nasty good. And it doesn't matter with Seth Mendoza, because Seth Mendoza is just that elite. And Will Denny is just that freaking elite. They're so like, I don't think people understand how big the levels are. But like, dude,
if you don't word it,
so
Jesus
good.
Christ, Mark. If you don't word it properly, it sounds like you're dogging TJ or Sindel, which is totally the opposite. It's just like Mendoza, Denny, like fucking, we're on Earth, they're on Jupiter. You know what I mean?
Yeah. We brought this up a lot. I mean, TJ for so much of the year looked like he was the clear number 2, and then he was, obviously, but I'm like, the gap between TJ and the rest of the field is actually a good. I mean, it looks like it's pretty good. And then Mendoza, it's like, it's so interesting. I wonder, I haven't paid enough attention to all the kids in those weight classes and where they were when Seth was coming in, but none of them closed the gap while Seth Mendoza was in high school. And I thought,
well, it's like they said, Seth had 15 tech falls in 16 years. Or 16 matches in the state tournament. He had 15 tech falls. So he tech falled all but one match at the high school state tournament during his 4 years of high school.
Wow. And Jim, you've been around. Was Seth losing to anybody in 7th, 8th grade?
No, I want to say no. He was an RWA kid, right? Region Wrestling Academy, Mark. Is that what it's called? RWA?
Yeah. Yep.
He's been a killer forever. I don't remember. He wrestled that Christian. The only time I've heard of him losing was when he was little, was against that Christian kid from who's the Christian from Valiant Prep?
Oh, he lost that Christian Castillo from Valiant Prep.
Yeah, somewhere, somehow. And they were like, that's the only, like, I mean, it's big news. Oh, did you hear Seth lost? Because that's what people do. You know what I mean? They always, if the king trips and falls, you talk about it.
Yeah. Well, how about Denny? Was he like that? I mean, again, I didn't follow.
Will Denny didn't place as a freshman. Will Denny just, like, he said, all right, I'm in, man. And he sold his soul to the wrestling gods, and he's
become who he is.
Yeah, he's Thor. You know what I mean? He's in.
Yeah. Okay, that's impressive.
He's gonna win U20s.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mark, I'm sorry, Mark. I'm sorry I've snipped. I just wanted to say
why?
I'm sorry.
You didn't snip? I was just reading something. Oh, you're fine. I was just reading something, trying to figure out Seth Mendoza losses, just because it is interesting to me. In high school, it was Jax Forrest has been the only person really. He did have a loss early to Castillo, so I just started going through his IKWS stuff. He lost in 2020 at the AAU Winter Nationals at Schoolboy 90.
And he weighed 70 pounds.
90 pounds. He lost to Logan Swenson of Wayzata.
You're saying he wrestled 90 and he was 70 pounds.
Yeah. I'm sure he bumped up 70.
In 2018, he lost to a Nicholas O'Neill from Compound 7'4". I mean, dude, that's how far you really got to go back to find outside of like the Jax Forrest and Christian Castillo losses. You're going back like 2018, 2017. That's crazy.
To put it in perspective, when's the last time Seth Mendoza lost? I don't know. When's the last time you wet the bed?
Well, don't ask. Yeah.
It's been a while, right? Like
it's been a while.
I mean, that's it.
Yeah. Well, speaking of another person who might go out, I don't know if he's U20s. Does Munaredo go?
Yeah.
Yeah, because Munaredo, I mean, that's what I'm saying. He won again, this year was a big year for him. He beat Tennyson how many times? Then he
Twice.
beat, and then he also beat Garcia, correct?
Hey, listen, can we off topic, but like we're not staying on topic. Can we jump around a little bit?
Yeah, but come back to Munaretto.
Come right back. No, I'm not taking. All right, no, go ahead, because I'm not gonna. I don't want to do that. Go.
Yeah. Can you hold it? Can you hold it in there?
I will can hold it. I can hold it all night too, baby.
Yeah, I mean, Don Munaretto has been impressive all season. I thought. I mean, Mark Stewart, what do you think about Don Munaretto?
Sorry, I was reading something. I got a text for work. I think Don Munaretto is as legit as they come.
I mean, Tech fall in the state finals.
Yeah.
Brady Phelps. I mean,
dude, I'm going to tell you right now, like, I watched the Garcia match.
Munaretto's another kid. He's one of them. He's another one of them kids that's like, he takes a good kid and just fucking exposes them. If that's even the right word, you know what I mean? Like he'll take, you put somebody really good up against him, and Dom does Dom.
Yeah.
It's almost like it's like victim mentality for Dom. Like we all expect you to win. I don't know. Like have a cup of tea while you're doing it or something. Like you know what I mean? Like it's insane, right?
Yeah.
It's not fair it's not even fair to him.
Yeah.
The one thing I really like about the Munarettos is like obviously I've known Bob for years. So I'm sitting at the Grant duel, which was like the Lafredo duels, and I'm like sitting there and I'm like, we're talking, and I'm like, hey Bob, I'm like going 26 today. And he's like looks at me and he's like, of course we are. What do you think we're gonna do? He's like, win or lose, we don't duck competition. We want the best competition. Don wants this match. And it's like, dude, he not back in. It's like, dude, you lost in the state finals last year after beating a kid how many times? He gets you once. He's bigger than you. He's growing. And they're like, yeah, we don't care. And he's losing in that match. He's winning, then he's losing. And dude, and he just pulls it, ties it up late, and then takes it to overtime and wins. And you're just like, and it's crazy, and nothing against the Garcias or the Marmion crowd because I think they're awesome. But even when he was losing, I was like, I wasn't worried. I was like, dude, Dom's he's gonna do this.
Yeah.
And that's just that. I love that he doesn't come from a house where there's an excuse made for an L. Instead, they chase the L down and try to write it. And I like that. I really like that. You don't see that as much.
Yeah, I think I want to see kids go after matches and not be afraid of failure. I mean, some kids are going to have better records than others, but at the end of the day, you just keep chasing the top. So don't stop. But
it's easy to pad a record. We all know that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Some people's, not Seth Mendoza's. His is real.
No, his is no. God no.
I know.
But I mean, like if you take your average,
I just looked at
your average ego full dad, and you want to pad a record, like shit.
Yeah, it's possible.
Mark, I just looked at Seth Mendoza's 70-pound novice IKWF state title run. He beat Ryder Janesco by fall. Then he beat Will Basinger 3-0. Then in the semis, he beat Colby Crouch 6-3. And then in the finals, he tech fault Jamison Garcia. Like every one of those kids has IHSA state medals or more than one. And it's like, that's Seth Mendoza, dude. Yeah. He's just that good. He's a stud.
Yep, stud. Jim, what was the thought that you had? We're back.
I don't know. The mood ain't right now. We were talking about like, the mood's not right. So I don't want to do it. But we were talking about like an end of an era, maybe. I had the end of an era vibe going. Yes or no?
Well, I don't know what type of era. I mean, obviously, some of these guys are moving on, and
maybe we're just talking about seniors.
Yeah.
Seniors. Okay, yeah. We were talking about seniors. We brought up Tennyson. Team State. They started at 150 for our third place match. I think they started at 150. Whatever. They started at whatever. And I'm sitting down in Big Tone. Tedison's dad came and sat next to me. He goes, "Hey, can I sit by you? This is my last match to watch Jimmy." And I was like, it was like an emotional thing, man. I kind of was snickering and stuff at all these moms and everybody like, getting emotional, but I get it. I get it.
Dude, you probably cried in the truck on the way home.
Yeah.
Well, I drive a Subaru. I don't drive a pickup truck.
He does drive a Subaru.
I drive
the white toy is the Subaru.
With my brights on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
man, it's
you
an
teared
emotional
up in the
game.
Subaru.
Yeah,
I know when Tennyson wrestled, and I was with Big Tone, I got a little choked up because it's like, okay, this is Tennyson's last hoorah, right? Like it was emotional. I didn't expect. I don't know. I never thought of it that way, So like, I didn't. But here you go. So I'm new to the game, right? So everybody all you parents of seniors, I'm on your side. That's an emotional game. I guess I don't realize that, but you always know when. Oh man, I'm so bad at this. When you take that dog for the last hunt, it's that dog's last hunt. You know what I mean? Now it ends different for a dog than it does a kid. Like this kid's going on to do better things. Yeah, like this dog's aged out and it's no longer worth feeding. Sounds terrible.
Dog's getting a bullet to the head and put down.
Jim's analogy is so funny. Well,
guys, you know what? Honestly,
hold on.
Go ahead, Dalton.
I was just saying, speaking of seniors, your guy, Evan Gaz, wins the state title 144 over Zach Stewart, which what Zach Stewart did at Team State is like, wow, Evan Gaz is that tough, huh?
Evan Gaz is a motherfucker.
Yeah, Evan Gaz to me is like, how do you prepare for a kid who does things, how do you say this? According to the wrestling gods, wrong. Like he can step over shit that you're not supposed to step over. And in fact, he'll try to get there because he's so fucking good there. And it's like, dude, don't ever shoot. I'm gonna give Evan Gaz away a little bit to some of you kids who keeps doing it because it's kind of obnoxious. Like, why would you do that? You were in this match, kid. But if you shoot you make a single leg attack with your head on the outside, I got news for you. You just got taken down every time because he's gonna sit the corner and he's gonna hit that little baby switch, however you want to, and he's gonna high leg that up and he's gonna come out every time. And even if you shoot a single with your head inside, if he can sprawl and push your head outside, he scores again. But to him, dude, seeing Jeff Gaz right after that was awesome. Was fucking awesome. See how happy he was. We got to yell Pinzo, and something Jim just said to her a little bit earlier. It's not a knock on Zach Stewart or his dad. They're awesome dudes. Awesome. Zach Stewart's such a fucking stud. It was Evan's night. It was Evan's final. It was long awaited, and it was really fucking cool.
Yeah. No, man, it's I'm over here playing Pictionary with Penelope, so I don't have to interrupt the podcast. Yeah, man, no, dude, Jeff Gaz is my favorite wrestling dad. Like he is. Well, I don't know if he's my favorite. He's my favorite. Ray Rice is an awesome. Oh, we should do a podcast on wrestling dads alone. We really should. There's so many good ones, man.
Jim, every time you're on the podcast, it is a podcast for the wrestling dads. Great guy.
There's so many good ones.
This kid's really good. He's got a cool dad.
Cool dad. Well, either way,
if they're not good, is their dad the reason? Because their dad's not cool?
Yeah, that
is
might
that
be
what
something.
keeps kids from jumping to the next level?
Yeah, that might be something. I mean, I have definitely a better record with cool dads than I do dads that aren't cool.
I would 99% of the dads are cool. I mean, that's just like once you get to like a certain level, the weird ego dads are
data.
Well, statistically speaking, I think like the weird ego dads are weeded out early because they
definitely struggle after sophomore year. I think that's for sure, but they can still find their way. But either way,
but it's you. I mean, it's not. It's like, dude, these are kids. Well, let's do this real fast. Let's air the dirty laundry. We did do. Yeah, no, it's fine. We did do a after state podcast, but we didn't. But Dalton decided not to air it because all it was a bitch session between us three about like the state tournament and the fans and how it's like Aunt Brenda doesn't belong there because she's booing a child. It's not your fault, Aunt Brenda. It's not your fault. Yeah. You know what I mean, like you just don't know. Like you don't know what that kid did to get here. I understand he's wearing a different singlet than your nephew, but like you don't boo a child. You know You know what I mean? What you do is you worried about your 3 children that are in this fucking bathroom all night playing with the water in the sink, and I walk in there and I'm gonna slip because I'm wearing my Birkenstocks because there's no snow on the ground. That's what you do, Aunt Brenda. You know?
Your Aunt Brenda? You had Aunt Brenda?
I don't know. I'm just bringing up a name. Like,
yeah. I mean,
there were 3 kids. There were three kids in the bathroom playing with the sink all night, and it's like, you damn know they're her kids, and the only thing they share in common is the fucking Ford Explorer they drove there with an exhaust leak. You know what I mean? Like, there's nothing else in common with those kids.
Yeah, I imagine that is gonna always increase. Oh, one thing I felt really positive about is just increasing the exposure of wrestling. But we've talked about this before. With increased exposure, you bring more people, and more people means that they might not understand the real culture of wrestling. They might not even be aware that there's tournaments that rank the best kids in the country. They might not be aware of college wrestling, and with exposure brings more of those people. But hopefully they'll
no fault of their own. Yeah, no fault of their own. I don't know. If I watch a wrestling match, I clap. I mean, what else can I give? You know what I mean? Like, that's all I can do is clap for whoever won. I mean, like, you kids, you're doing way more than you know what I mean? Like, you're doing a million times above the average asshole. Like, you deserve. That's the minimum I can do is clap.
Yeah.
But to boo a child is weird.
Yeah.
Especially if you know better. But that's a whole different. Fan etiquette and cool wrestling dad podcast coming soon.
All right, let's figure it out. One thing I want you guys to tell me about. I know you guys were there. 215 3A. What happened? Because I didn't even know that kid existed, but I saw the clip from the match.
Mark Stewart talked about good. Walker early in the year.
Well, Mark Stewart, I missed out, and fill me back in on this.
And so did Jeremy Mack. Jeremy Mack and Mark Stewart knew who Walker was, and we didn't.
So Charles Walker and Kai, I think, wrestled maybe a 1.2 point match last year, if I remember correctly. He's a freak athlete, like just a freak athlete. But he knows how to wrestle too. He's not just that freak athlete. The last time they wrestled, though, maybe it was pretty. I'm pretty sure Kai beat him up pretty good just a couple weeks before the state tournament. In that match, though, Kai was winning. Charles Walker got maybe a reversal. I don't remember exactly. So, end the period. I forget. He went up. He was up 1. You could feel it in the arena, like the momentum just hit that point. Kai took a shot pretty much straight on. Almost looked like desperation, which he didn't need to do that. But just and they got kind of like a scramble position-y thing from their feet, though. It wasn't like it's on the mat. And then just you saw the explosiveness of Charles Walker in that situation, and he got the score to close that match, then put the nail in the coffin. I think Kai was like 2, maybe 3-0 against him going into that match over the last 2 years. I'll say this: both those kids are both. I think Charles Walker and Kai are both pretty high level, high quality football players who play football at a much heavier weight than they wrestle. And it's rare that I say that I think somebody's bigger than Kai Calcutt at a weight class. And I think Charles Walker was bigger. He's a specimen to watch.
Yeah.
I did talk to him. When I was walking out, Maddie and I were walking to get out of there, and Maddie knows him. And Maddie talked to him for a minute. Seems like a really nice kid, man. Just very happy, very humble, very excited, holding that bracket board. And I know I would have been too, but
yeah, that was impressive.
It was wild. It was just the kind of what happened. Like there was like a little bit of it's not a scramble, but it's like that chain wrestling on her feet off a shot, and then he turns, flips, and then he runs through him, and it was just like, holy shit. This kid's awesome. Kai's awesome. They're both awesome.
But biggest upset of the night for sure, right? Or was he Parks a bigger upset? Because that was a takedown, right? Was that a takedown win?
I would say that Judah Heeg, although, I'm sure if you ask plenty of people in a certain part of the state, they would say they did not feel that was an upset because Heeg is relatively new to the state for high school wrestling, right? So there wasn't a lot. I'd have to go back and look at some of like Judah's matches, see where his L's were.
Charles Walker probably for sure, right?
Yeah, I mean, Kai just committed to NC State. He's a top 10 kid in the country. He's already won state titles and placed in every major national event. Won a half of them, three-quarters of them.
Yeah, how many times I watched Kai win down at Tulsa and stuff like that? Like Kai's been a winner forever.
Yeah, everybody that has a dual meet has been sending out for him, right? To be on the team when your guys were coming up, Jim.
Oh yeah,
I remember him always being there. But
Kai is his dad Rick is awesome. His mom Honolulu is awesome, and dude, Kai is just a fucking genuinely good kid.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah. Well, then another weight class. I thought it was I thought it was a good match. I don't know what you guys thought, but the fact that RJ Robinson made it a 5-2 decision against Aaron Stewart. I mean, what happened?
I said that.
I don't know. Aaron Stewart flat out said I didn't wrestle a good match.
Yeah, I'll say that's definitely
Robinson
true.
But pretty good though.
RJ Robinson, though, I watched him at Fargo. He wrestled he's an Arizona State champ last year. Moved to Illinois. I don't know if he lived here prior to that, but I think sometimes we forget that like styles and make matchups, right? And so he's RJ Robinson, Ronald Robinson III, whatever you want to call him. He's very athletic and lanky, and obviously Aaron Stewart is very short, stocky, and might be the most explosive human being at weighing in 175 pounds. It's not like he's cutting weight to make 75. It's just what he walks around. I think Pam said the heaviest he's gotten is 178. I asked her at state, how big has he gotten? Because to me, he looks like he'd be even bigger than that. She said heaviest he's gotten is Aaron. The heaviest Aaron has been this year is 178.
No, who'd you ask?
Pam.
Are you saying Pan?
Pam.
Are you saying Pan?
Pamela, Mrs. Stewart.
You did not. Jim did that. That's amazing. Great job.
We've been calling her Pan for years. Like that's the joke.
Okay, I forgot. I wasn't in on the joke. But she said
he got you with the stepbrother.
78.
That was funny.
Yeah,
he got you with the stepbrother.
I didn't see that coming. I thought he was being serious. He's always fucking. Hey, he's always fucking. I can never tell when he's being serious. But anyways, what you saw there was like stylistically, you got a tall, lanky, athletic kid who moves semi-decent, played the edge pretty well. And he knows, I'm not saying he was stalling. That's not what happened. I'm saying he's a smarter, he's a smarter wrestler, not a smarter than Aaron, but I'm saying he's a smarter wrestler. He's not dumb. He knows how to wrestle. He knows the savviness of the sport, and he played it smart. And he gave himself a fighter's chance in a matchup against the top 5 kid in the country. And stylistically, it's a bad matchup. Body-wise and just being so much shorter, and then just RJ Robinson being so tall for 175.
Yeah, just think about the conversation we're having, right? We're talking about how impressive it is to keep a score close with Aaron Stewart, and it's like there's some guys in the state of Illinois that are like spreading the gap between the top spot. I'll bring up your boy Jimmy. Jimmy is just widening the gap, and there's some guys in this state that are clearly have some high aspirations that are going to come in the form of Division I college wrestling, and that's exciting. So
yeah, I mean, obviously Aaron's committed to wrestle at Illinois in the class of 2026. I think he's a top 5 commit in the class of 2026. He's so good, and like you said, it's interesting that he's so much better than people. The goal is to
keep it.
If we keep it close with them, it's a dub. It's like our version. It's our own. It's our state title. We lost by a minor to Stewart. I mean, I wouldn't lie. I'd been happy as hell if I had to wrestle. If I was in the state final against him and he only beat me 5-2.
Yeah,
I'd have been like, hey, But yeah, there is quite a few of these kids where the gaps are just so big. One I want to talk about because real quick is you know, it did stir. I won't bring up too much, but Caleb Noble had a great state tournament. I want to make sure that I put that message out there, and I want to make sure that anybody that knows that I never thought for one second that Caleb Noble couldn't run through that state tournament. My whole thing with the seeding criteria, I still stand by. But the reality is, it didn't mean that he wasn't the best wrestler in the bracket. People have losses, and but he shows. And I'll say this 1,000 times over. He has a nickname. They've always called him Showtime, and he does shine under the brightest lights. And he showed out, dude. He put it. And Kaden Corral's a dog. Rocco Hayes is a dog. He got beat early by the Buffalo Grove kid, the Russian kid, or Ukrainian.
Havercleve.
And then beat him for third. Yeah. That bracket was really interesting.
Yeah,
so he gets his revenge in the third place match, 4-2. And I think the Havercleves, both his points were off stalls. Yeah, I mean, Caleb Noble dominated.
I got one for you. Totally off topic, maybe controversial even. And I just saw this yesterday. Did you guys see Isaac Clausen get choked out and he was like out?
I don't know.
In the JCA duel?
Yeah, no. At fucking at the state tournament.
Well, I didn't get to actually see any.
You talking about Jason Hampton?
Any live matches?
No. Isaac Clausen at 175.
Yeah.
This kid went in there was like a Merkle position, and his arm was up, and when he like tipped him back or whatever, he went like limp. Check it. Like what? Can we pull it up or not?
Well, Hampton went out too at the state tournament.
Yeah.
In the Jasinski match, Jasinski hit him in a headlock, totally legal, and then he's fighting. He plops over to his back, but he's out. And then there's the whole discussion. He gets his senses under him. And I'm not saying one thing or the other, and I don't understand the rule, but
was it the fall?
Yes.
Okay.
And so with the Hampton one, then there's some conversation between Joe Culver and the officials at the table. I've always my understanding is if you go out cold, you can't wrestle.
Yeah, like you're out, you lose.
You're out. Yeah, but they allowed Hampton to finish the match. And then he came back and he was winning, and then he got taken down on the like a Merkle on the edge.
He's underneath on the right.
Watch his arm. He's out.
Yeah, he's out.
Watch how long this goes. Look at him.
Did they stop that or call it a fall?
They called the pin.
Okay.
Wow.
I don't know who the refs are.
I did not see that.
How do you not see that though? Like you can see the kid's out if you're above him. You would see his eyes roll to the back of his head and the dead arm.
No, I'm
when the
saying
arm flops.
That happened.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's a tough one to watch. I think hopefully it's a lesson for that guy to pay attention. Did they keep the fall? I didn't look at the bracket, but they kept the fall. So yeah, I mean, yeah.
What weight was that at?
175, 3A, wrestle back. Yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of stuff. Even
that kid finished fifth. Was that the match to determine who places?
Ramirez, yes. Ramirez that was blood round. No. He had to beat Zaski from Lincoln Way East. So
okay.
So one round away. But yeah, I mean, that's tough. I mean, we'll catch ourselves, but I could get into another good bitch session about just officiating. And to be honest, I think that there needs improved education, but I do think that there needs like an oversight that isn't one of them, and there has to be consequences for bad calls and bad things. Like the guy that officiated the Will Denny thing, like he was looking for something as opposed to something happening. And I do not know what the answer is because, there's always a need for officials and people aren't very good at stuff. And it's hard to
explain this to me.
Good people.
Like, I'll be dumb online. I'll be dumb in front of everybody. Ready? Explain this to me. The match is over, right? The whistle is blown, right?
Yeah.
So you're off duty. You're off the clock. You're off duty. What you do is what you do. You know what I mean? The whistle's blown. It's over. And I'm not like, remember when that kid punched Caden Corral at the end? I'm not like you can't reach and go that far. You know what I mean? That's what I'm talking about. Like, remember that
Cooper
kid
Quarter.
Cooper Quarter. Remember when that kid
shook hands and stuck him in the face?
Oh, I got it.
Yeah. Okay. That's not. I'm not talking about anything like that. Like, so the match is over. They already shook hands. They walked away. Will Denny's 18 with circle 36. Will Denny's 18 feet from the fucking action.
He was off the mat almost. If not, he was. I mean, we could bring that up. I could bring that up.
18 feet. 18 feet's a lot. I mean,
and
the ref you get 18 foot up on the. Yeah. What about now, Stewie? Don't go nowhere on this one. What about celebrations after you win state with the headgear tosses and all that shit?
Oh yeah. I mean, I think
like compare them.
It's always like here's the thing. We could talk all day. At the end of the day, that ref was looking to make a call, and he did not know that call was going to come back and matter at the end, or he did and he didn't care. But he literally was following Will Denny to the mat to find out something wrong. He threw it. If it's not illegal to throw your headgear onto your bag, like he's saying throw, define what throw means, right? It's like
no. Hold on. That's the issue. That's the bigger issue.
And underhand throw
like three officials, and the rule says you cannot. This throwing your headgear is unsportsmanlike conduct. Throwing your headgear, that's a pretty broad rule.
Yeah, like what?
So like we don't care if like kids pop their headgear, turn sideways, then take it off, and they like, coach, toss it to them. I've seen coaches do the like, don't throw your headgear to me. I'm not your headgear bitch. I've seen coaches like, yeah, no problem. I've seen kids like toss it to their buddy, no problem. Now you go and whip the fucking thing at the head table because you're mad. Like what's his name did down there? Not. I won't say that kid's name, dude. Not my business. But there's like, here's the problem. If the rule says cannot throw headgear throwing is a misconduct, then it has to be a sport of misconduct for everybody across the board. Don't take your headgear off then. Is that way we don't have this game. But when you let kids do it all year,
if you have to have your headgear on before the match, you have to have your headgear off before the match. Make that rule, we'll have this problem again. Or eliminate it altogether.
Yeah, get rid of that. These kids, we don't need
It's a false sense of security. Yeah, it's a false sense of security. It's no different than riding a YZ80 in the front yard with a helmet or without. You know what I mean? Like, you're going to get fucked up either way, man.
Yeah. I mean, I say this a lot. I've gotten some of my cauliflower while wearing headgear. So it's not fully protective. But yeah, I just think that I don't know how to address referees. I think I know some of them, and I think some of them get badgered, and then when you get badgered, you just get worse and worse and worse because you get so emotionally defensive.
These referees are humans, man. Like they're humans, like until Elon Musk develops a referee. Like,
well, I'm pulling for that guy.
Break.
I'm pulling. Well, here's the thing: we give them a break,
but not the Will Denny guy.
Need,
like, that's bullshit.
You need accountability, and that's why people have to people who, again, that guy went after Will Denny. He did not let Will Denny cause the problem. So, and wrestling's violent and emotional, and we need leaders and officials to calm situations down as opposed to he was looking to fire that one up. But
it's like when a kid, real quick, it's like when a kid loses. We've all, Jim, you've dealt with your son, so you weren't necessarily having coaching, but Dalton, you coach, I've coached. Listen, when a kid loses, getting in his face right away, like, hey, there's no benefit to it. It doesn't help him. He doesn't learn anything. Like, let him walk away. Let him cool off. Let him process it. sometimes there is something you have to say after the fact. But a lot of times you can leave it up to them. Do you want to learn something from this? Like, I have some, if you'd like to hear it.
Sometimes you have to follow them to watch
to make sure
go and stuff. Yeah,
but you don't keep yipping in their ear like, if you would have done this, you wouldn't have lost. And but like as an official, if you were mad or you felt like he was whatever, you don't walk him to his corner like harping in his like talking to him still. And he didn't throw it at. He didn't overhand. He didn't whip it at the wall. He chucked it to his bench.
Yeah, underhand, like a fucking girl throwing a softball, man.
Dude, girls throw softballs off 90 miles an hour, dude.
We will. So
that headgear was. Will never make it as a girl softball player. That was not 90.
You know, and if you guys don't hold me, push me to keep out. Like, I want to really actually stay on this and investigate. Like, there has to be some sort of response. I want to hear what people in those administrative situations really feel about that thing. Whether or not they give us an answer, I don't care, but I'm going to ask because I do think that's just, I mean, again, I'm on one hand, it doesn't bother me in the sense that like I'm not impacted by it, but at the end of the day, it did change the outcome of the duel. And I don't know, does Hananiga, I mean Hananiga versus Marist, I think I want to see that duel, so I wish we get to see that duel as well. I mean, that's why I love
Denny, man. Will Denny.
Yeah,
like he's gonna tech your son, but he's also gonna nurse a fucking kitten back to health. I mean, it's Will Denny. Man.
I don't know Will Denny enough to be able to comment. But either way, it was it wasn't a good one. But we'll finish up there, guys. I thought it was good. Great last few weeks. Looking forward to the off season and see what next competitions present. But
shout out Braden Tennyson. Shout out Braden Tennyson, 2-time state champ, man.
Shout out.